Hi, I'm Heidi Nelson, and welcome to this edition of Duffy Doings, our show about issues relating to healthcare and homelessness on Cape Cod and what's going on at Duffy Health Center. This episode will be about the 9th annual Duffy Health Center Gala, and here to meet and talk with me about the gala are our guests, Deb McGuire. Deb is the co-owner of Liam McGuire's Irish Pub on Main Street in Falmouth. Welcome, Deb.
Heidi.
Glad to have you here.
Thank you.
And Phil Gerasi, who is General Manager, Rectrix Regional Manager for the Cape and Islands for Rectrix Aerodrome. Welcome.
Thank you for inviting me back, Heidi.
Glad.
Always enjoyed to be with the Duffy Center.
Oh, glad to have you here. Thanks. So this year, the Duffy Annual Gala will be held on Friday, May 4th at the Rectrix Aerodrome. It will start around 6 o'clock with cocktails and our silent auction. Around 7:30, we'll be having a wonderful dinner, and then our live auction kicks in. You can purchase tickets by going to the Duffy Health Center website, duffyhealthcenter.org. There's a button where you can click and it will take you to more information about the gala. We did the gala 9 years ago for the first time when we had a video that was made about the work that we do around our Housing First program. There is a video production company here on the Cape based in Falmouth called Visionaries. I don't know if you've heard of them. And their thing is that they make videos about programs that work, and they were interested in the work that we do with our Housing First program, which places people into housing. A lot of programs require you to be sober or to be stable on your mental health medications before you can go into the housing, but Housing First says we're going to move you into housing and then we're going to start working on your issues. So it was pretty innovative back in the day. So Visionaries did a half-an-hour video. And so our first gala was the premiere of the video. We had a red carpet and people came in, and in the aerodrome we dimmed the lights and watched the movie. But since then we have a theme that's called a suitcase party, where people who are coming to the event bring a packed suitcase with them to the event that they leave in their car. And during the event, we draw names. Everybody who comes to the event puts their ticket into a bin, and we draw names, and the individuals whose names are drawn, 2 tickets are drawn, and then 2 tickets are auctioned off. And those 8 people in the middle of the event walk out of the hangar doors onto the tarmac, if you will, and get on a private jet and fly to a destination or to a location. Deb was a trip winner last year in 2017. What was that like to pack your suitcase? It must have been so exciting.
So exciting. So I was determined to win. I was one of the 2 people who bid to win the trip.
Okay.
As I said, I was determined to win. I was going on this trip. Packing, my friend and I went together. We packed lightly because we knew there was fabulous shopping in Asheville, North Carolina.
Very good.
Packed for warm weather and brought our suitcases. And Rectrix does a fabulous job of taking care of their customers. It's a seamless transition from arriving at the event to stepping onto the jet and your bags are there.
Right. So you were auctioned. 2 people, you got the trip in the auction, 2 people had their names pulled out, and it's so much fun to see them stand up and scream and cheer.
Right.
But we always say that you really have to be prepared to go.
Correct.
A lot of people say, well, I never win anything. I'm going to put my name in, but I never win anything. And then, who's going to take care of the dog? Maybe you have small children at home. You can't leave them for the weekend, or elderly parents who need care. So people have to come to the event prepared with their driver's license, right?
Correct.
To have your proper ID so that you can get onto the plane, because you have to follow all the FAA regulations, right?
Right, of course. We have to have a manifest for the aircraft of all the people who are on board the airplane. But it's very, very easy when you bring your license with you. It's very smooth transition to get on board the airplane. And the cocktails continue on while you're on board the aircraft,
Right,
too.
right. So every year during the cocktail hour and silent auction, we usually have a signature cocktail, which I guess hasn't been determined yet, but there will be something. And the theme this year is called Bermuda Blues and Boat Shoes.
Correct.
So the idea is that, well, the destination, I haven't said the destination this year, is Jekyll Island, Georgia, which is supposed to be just a wonderful, wonderful resort area. And this year, the winners will stay at the Oceanfront Hotel on Jekyll Island. So it's supposed to be a very special place for people to stay. And there will be a number of different events, of course. When you first get there, we do this every year. When you first get there, it's 11 o'clock or midnight, isn't
Correct.
it, by the time you get there? So you want to just have a complimentary glass of champagne and probably crawl into bed, right?
Well, Duffy puts a complimentary bottle of champagne in your room and cheese and crackers.
Right,
So you start celebrating that way. And we also, the group met at the bar and also had one drink together.
But I think you also bond. It seems like every year the 8
Amazing,
people kind
right.
of bond.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is true.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So then on Saturday, they'll have the golf carts, mini mokes, I think they call them sometimes, but or red bugs, I think is what Elise calls them, but that can be driven around the island just to kind of explore the island, which sounds like a lot of fun. And then a lovely dinner on Saturday night. And on Sunday, there's a dolphin cruise. There's a sunset
Right.
cruise where I guess you go out in the water and you can see the dolphins. And then a lovely breakfast the next morning, exploring the island on Sunday afternoon, and then hopping back on the jet and flying back to the Cape. So, so Deb, tell us about your experience in Asheville. I've always wanted to go to Asheville. I've heard so many
great.
wonderful things about it.
It starts off with, we left Hyannis, and in 2 hours and 15 minutes, about,
Yeah.
there we were landing in Asheville, which is just amazing. We stayed at the Biltmore Estates. The actual house for the Biltmore Estates is the largest home in the United States. It's a 255-room estate. It's built as a French chateau. You think you're at Versailles when you first approach it, and it's styled after that. We stayed at the 5-star hotel on the property. You don't stay at the actual house, but you tour the house. We also had a cooking lesson at the house in the stables. They have a vineyard. We drank a lot of their wine. Spent time taking a Segway tour around the 8,000-acre property. Sat out late at night and watched the moon rise over the mountains, drinking champagne. It's
sounds
just a wonderful, wonderful
Great.
48 hours.
So the question is, did you get to go shopping?
Sure did. There's great shopping in Asheville.
So you were outfitted for the rest of the summer
Correct.
here on the Cape, right?
Correct.
So tell us about what's going on with Rectrix. I know that your business has expanded and you have a new title now, I read in the
Well,
paper. What are you going to be doing these days?
It's another dimension of the company, and I'm going to expand with a freight cargo division so that we can send freight over to the islands and elsewhere. With our FBO, our private jets, we now have an airline also that goes from Hyannis to Nantucket, and we operate King Air 300s with that route. And we also, during the summer season, we handle the JetBlue operation for the Cape and Islands as well. So it is very busy for us at Rectrix. We have other locations around the country also, in Sarasota, Florida, and we have other locations in Massachusetts. We also have a location in Westfield, Mass, Worcester, Mass, and Hanscom Field, Bedford, Mass, as well as our facility in Hyannis. So we're keeping busy year-round, and it's just a great place to come and enjoy the facility, and we enjoy helping the Duffy Health Center with their event, it's like no other venue that you can find on Cape Cod. Even if you don't win the trip, it's just a great evening to come and enjoy the dinner, the festivities, and our facility. Because it's not often that people can go out and see a venue such as the Retrix venue.
Correct.
You know, every day. So it's a once a year opportunity to come out and enjoy it, and it's certainly worth the price of the admission for sure.
Well, and your company and the aerodrome are such a great asset for the Cape that we have this facility. And if you're ever in the market to, do you call it lease a jet or rent a jet?
Sure, either or. Yeah.
To take your friends to some spectacular place for a price, you can rent the jet and off you go. So it's just a really great asset that we have here. And Rich Cawley, the leader of your company, we have to give him a shout out because, as you say, everybody at the company is just so supportive of what we do at Duffy Health Center. We're so grateful.
Absolutely. When you see the good things that Duffy does year round, you can't help but want to be a part of it and help in any way that you can. You're helping the less fortunate or the people who have issues that need a second chance or they need a different direction. That's where we want to put our money.
And so you're leading into, you know, what it is we do at Duffy Health Center and our mission, which is to provide health care and support services to people who are homeless or at risk of homelessness on Cape Cod. And one of the things that is so important about the gala, and thank you as a donor and thank you as a sponsor, is to provide unrestricted resources for the work that we do. So, you know, we get grant funds, and but usually it's a very strict sort of set of things that we have to do with those funds. And what the unrestricted funds allow us to do is to dream and to plan. So, for example, a couple of years ago, our medical director was looking at our diagnosis data, and he noticed that we have a really high percent of our patients have a hepatitis C diagnosis. So hepatitis C is a bloodborne illness that can be spread through injection drug use. And interestingly, in Barnstable County, our HIV rates are very low, but our hepatitis C rates are very high. And as you know, it's something that used to be uncurable. But at the time, the new medications were coming out to treat hepatitis C. And so our medical director decided that he wanted to develop a program to treat these folks and basically cure their hepatitis C. So we were able to pilot the program, and we have a director of program development who puts all the program, puts together a work plan. We put a program together. And once we've had the ability to demonstrate how we're able to do this, then we can write grants and then we can get stable funding for the program going forward. But unrestricted funds really gives us the opportunity to do that program development. Also, it provides support for us to advocate on behalf of our programs. So having the resources to be able to go up to Beacon Hill or to go to Washington, D.C. And make the case for our funding, which is where I was in D.C. last week, talking about what we do in community health centers and talking with Congressman Keating and Senator Markey and Senator Warren about our programs and services. And we wouldn't be able to do that if we didn't have the unrestricted support from our donors and our sponsors. So going back to the event, May 4th, starting at 6 o'clock, the way that it's going to work, again, is that we have the cocktail hour and then we have a wonderful dinner. The food is great, right?
It certainly is.
At the gala, we have casual gourmet. Do you know Olive at all? Or
I do.
Yeah?
I do, and big admirer of the work she does.
Right, right. So Casual Gourmet is her company, and she's actually the only caterer within a 100-mile radius who can actually do this event because there is no kitchen, right, at Rectrix, so she has to set up tents and cook the food kind of out under the sky, under the stars.
She does. Does a great
But
job.
I always say because I have so many responsibilities at the gala, sometimes I have a hard time figuring out how to eat, but I always make my husband make a plate for me because the food is the food is so great. But the silent auction, we're going to do the silent auction a little bit differently this year. When you go on the Duffy website, you can already start to bid on silent auction items. Maybe that's not quite set up yet, but before the event, you'll be able to go on and bid on items in the silent auction. And so it'll all be on your smartphone when you go to the event. So a lot of events are moving in this direction. And don't worry if you don't have a smartphone. There will be staff at the event who can take an iPad and show you how to use it, and you can still bid on things. But it also allows us to leave the silent auction open for a while longer so that people can continue to bid on the items. And let's see, you'll have to help me remember. We were told about the live auction items,
Right.
I think. So going to Nantucket, there were Nantucket events. One of them was the Nantucket Project, which is a real phenomenon now. It's a gathering of thinkers and speakers and thought leaders
Right.
talking about different topics. And so there will be 2 tickets to the Nantucket Project, which is a real coup.
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift tickets and Bruno Mars.
And Bruno
Right.
Mars
I
will
have
be
been
there.
it's so interesting to me how many people like our age like Bruno Mars. You know what I mean?
But he's such a great dancer.
Yes.
You just want to see the moves.
So much energy,
Right, right,
so much energy,
right.
and you can take your kids and enjoy it yourself too.
Right.
But tickets at for Taylor Swift at Fenway, Bruno Mars at TD Garden, and then we're working on pairing those with apartment rentals, also in Boston, so people don't have to travel back and forth to come back and down.
Susan Warnick will be a.
That's right. That's right. So
Mess.
this year, so continuing on sort of with the way that the event flows, we will have a mistress of ceremonies this year, Susan Warnick. Now, you both have lived here for a while, so
Right.
you know who Susan
Very,
Warnick
very
is.
well.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Right.
great.
Popular news person.
Yeah. From Channel 5.
Channel 5.
That was it years ago. Yeah.
Right, so she's retired now, but she has a house on the Cape and she does events, and so she'll be at the event if you want to get her autograph or get a picture taken with her. But probably the most meaningful thing that happens at the event, you might remember Patrick last year. Oh, you were probably getting ready to get on the jet last year, so you
But
might
we
not
did
have
the
been-
bidding with the paddles.
You did? You did?
Yes.
Okay, okay. So one of our clients, Patrick, got up and told his story, and it's always just really tugs at your heartstrings, meaningful stories of recovery through the work that we do
Heartwarming.
at
very
Duffy
much.
Health Center. And following that, we then have we have what we call the Fund a Need, where, as our development director says, you might not need, tickets to Bruno Mars, but you still want to make a contribution.
Correct.
So with the Fund a Need, we have different levels of funding. So people who contribute $1,500 are contributing toward first month, last month security deposit for somebody that we're moving into housing, who may have been on the street for a long time. So that's a very popular category. The $500 level has been paying for a week of nurse practitioner and case manager outreach services at the St. Joseph House Shelter in Hyannis, the single adult shelter. So people are contributing toward that. At the $100 level, people are contributing toward a fund that we have for people who need co-pays for their medications. In Massachusetts, everybody is supposed to have health insurance,
Correct.
but we still have people who are working poor, who are challenged, trying to have the right amount of you know, we go to the doctor and we have to pay $25 or $30. Some of our patients also have to pay a copay for a visit or a copay for medication. So this fund helps with that too. So so that's the Fund a Need. I wonder about whether or not you're planning to go to the event again this year.
I am. It is on my calendar, and I am hoping to go to Jekyll Island also.
Okay.
I'm packing a suitcase.
So while you have an opportunity on TV here, how about a plug for Liam McGuire's Irish Pub?
Thank you so much. We've been in Falmouth for 24 years. We're on Main Street across from the main branch of the Falmouth Public Library. Our building has been a restaurant on Cape Cod for over 100 years.
Oh, really?
Right. It used to be the townhouse before that, and a couple of other places. My husband and I moved to Falmouth from Washington, D.C., started running an Irish pub, and now we have two sons, ages 29 and 31, and we're hoping they're going to take it over and
That's
continue
great.
the legacy.
Right. And I've heard you say that it was a way for your musician husband to stick around home.
Exactly, right. He was on the road all the time singing. Mm-hmm. He was a bard traveling on the road and didn't want to be away from his two boys. Mm-hmm. So we bought a pub so he could sing at his own pub. Mm-hmm. So it's worked out great.
What nights do you have music?
In the summer, we have music 7 nights a week.
Oh, wow.
In the off-season, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Okay. And St. Patrick's Day recently was
spectacular. Thank you, Cape Cod.
Very good. Well, I think everybody, with the winter that we've had, everybody was looking forward to getting out and enjoying themselves, huh?
They always do.
Yeah.
Something about the bright green makes people know that spring's coming.
And I can assure everyone that on May 4th, it's going to be bright, sunny, and 70
degrees.
Right.
I don't think so, Phil. Usually what we do is we recommend to the ladies that they wear something warm. The men often have a jacket on, so they're warm. But it can be kind of chilly on the Cape in early May. So how did you make it to Cape Cod, Phil? What's your story?
Well, I was with the major airlines for 35 years, and after 2001, it was difficult for me because a lot of my friends were in the tower when the airplanes hit. And so I needed a diversion from that, and there was an opportunity to come to Cape Cod. And I was a manager of an airline here on the Cape, and then about 7 years ago, I was invited to be a manager at Retrix. So I thought I was only going to be here for like 2 years, and all of a sudden it's now 13.
That
so
happens all the time, doesn't it, on the Cape?
The other part is that all my life I've been going back and forth from Logan Airport on a Friday night coming to Cape and back to Boston on Sunday. Now I don't even want to go over the Sagamore Bridge.
Well, especially with the construction that they're getting ready to do on the bridge. But
that's a good reason for people to stay on the Cape and,
that's right. Or to
have
fly.
a night out.
Or
have
to
a
fly.
night out, fly, or have a night out at Retrix at the Hyannis Airport.
Right. Are there any plans for the aerodrome? Any renovations or upgrades?
There will be coming some expansions. Yes, there will be. The company is working on it. As you understand, in aviation, things just don't happen overnight, but there are plans for expansion.
Very good.
And larger aircraft as well. So.
Interesting.
That's exciting.
So the airport will be able to take on
Yes, they're
bigger
looking
craft.
up for larger aircraft, right?
Okay.
Right, and for new destinations as well, from Hyannis to go to new destinations.
So again, the event is on Friday, May 4th, starting at 6 o'clock. To purchase tickets, I don't think I've said that $195 per ticket, or a table of 10 for $19.50. There are also sponsorship opportunities still remaining, so if your business wants to sponsor the gala, you can contact us through the website. We'd be happy to talk with you more about that. And just to, again, emphasize the importance of the unrestricted funding to the work that we do. Another example of something that happened recently is that we have started to work with Cape Cod Healthcare around end-of-life planning. You know, a lot of expense in our healthcare system happens within the last 60 days of life, right? Mm-hmm. People are in crisis and they end up in the hospital in intensive care when maybe that wasn't really what they wanted all along. And so there's a real push, and because it's the right thing to do, not just because it saves money, but it's the right thing to do, is for all of us to have a plan for what happens at the end of life so that our wishes can be followed. So the hospital is really doing a lot around this effort. I went to a conference that they put on a year and a half ago, and they have asked us to partner with them. Our clients in particular often have lost all ties with their family, or they have nobody who can help them figure out what they, you know, we've probably sat with our families and said, this is what I want to have happen. And so often they're in a situation maybe at the end of life where it's very depressing and very sad for them. So we decided that we were going to work with the hospital to have positive conversations with our patients about what their wishes are for end of life. So long story short, we, using unrestricted funds, had dollars available to hire very temporarily a woman who is a Master's of Divinity student who was working in the pastoral care department at the hospital to come over and do spiritual counseling with our clients. So we're not proselytizing, we're not teaching religion to them, but often our patients just need to have an ear where people can talk about their sadness, and it's not necessarily a therapist, right, who's trying to help you with a treatment plan, figure out what to do about your sadness, but somebody who's just there to talk with you. So we were able to hire her with our unrestricted funds, and then again along came a grant opportunity that we were able to continue the program. So Pam Wani works with us, and actually our show that we did last month was with Pam as a guest. So that's just another example of the wonderful work that we're able to do.
That's very valuable for somebody who's in that position to have that. Yeah.
So Friday, May 4th, 6 o'clock, Retrix Aerodrome, Susan Warnick as the MC, and we hope to see you there. I'd love to thank you.
My pleasure.
Again,
let me just say, pack a small suitcase and join the fun. Right? You won't regret it.
Deb McGuire, 2017 trip winner and co-owner of Liam McGuire's Irish Pub in Falmouth, and Phil Gerasi, a regional manager for the Cape and Islands for Rectrix Aerodrome.
Thank you for inviting me back, though. I really enjoyed it.
Pleasure being here.
Thank you so much. And that's it for this edition of Duffy Doings. Take care until next time.